Here's a group of fellows marching from one mill to another,
Yeah.
trying to get them to shut down. They call them flying squadrons. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Is that you, Russell, right there? Could that be you right there?
Might be.
It's your turn hard.
Of course, this is, we know that this is the Luray mill here.
Firestone.
It wasn't Firestone then,
It
but
was
you,
Luray then.
yeah, that Luray then.
Look at that old car.
Mm-hmm.
The T model. Well,
This is at the Luray mill. Now this is Parkdale. People coming out.
Yep.
there you are, Russell. That's you.
Yeah.
I see you. You got on overalls, I believe.
Yeah.
I see you.
Let me freeze frame just a moment, see if we can. No, that's not going to work. Let's see.
Try the frame advance.
Okay, I've got it. Just a moment. Could you go over there and just point out where?
Looking like
Okay.
it is.
Maybe she should do it from the other side.
Mom.
I'm still crawling.
Yeah. I can go back. Okay.
Okay, when you guys ready? I couldn't tell if that was him playing the drums in there or not. The old films, they
Mhm.
were so fast moving.
Right. Yeah.
What have I got in?
Yeah. This has all been saved over at the University of South Carolina.
Are you ready? Jamie's ready.
Yeah.
Why don't you just let it go? See if you can try slow advance.
All right. Slow advance.
Actually, okay, if you can point out, we can see it from here.
You want to go back on that and see it again?
Wasn't it
Hmm?
when they were outside the building that you saw him?
I think
I saw
so.
him coming right through there.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't look like the same scene.
Yeah, it was when they were coming out of the building, I think, out of the mill that she saw him.
Out of the mill. Okay. Let's see if I can get this then.
Is that right? When they were all coming out of the mill?
I
That's when.
think that's.
Okay. Then I'll go back on that. Let's see.
On your way?
I may be coming back
Okay.
over here.
Okay.
That's more of the Albert
It was
Henson
before- It
speech.
was around here, George.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. Just cut down the sound, off the sound, so all the way off.
Right there you are, in them overalls.
Let's go back on that
Right
again.
back.
Am I going back?
Hit play.
I think, no, I should have. So I'll get it back in just a moment. This is the scene. Okay, so we'll start again now. Okay.
Right there you are.
That's interesting. So tell us.
You know what, George?
Yeah.
Why don't we do this? Since now we know where he is,
Yeah.
why don't we roll it? She could come down and say, there it is, and come back, and we could keep it
Okay.
playing. Because when you stop it like that, come up from the couch? Since
Yeah,
he was right
yeah,
here?
yeah.
Okay, you were sitting here, we were all excited
Yeah,
because you
yeah.
found him.
Okay. Crawling out of the windows there in Parkdale.
Dale.
Yeah.
Do you want to turn the sound up? Down?
Russell, right there you are. I see you going right down through here. You got on overalls. It goes away too fast. See, there you are. So you got them in them overalls. You got on a white shirt.
Russell, tell me what you remember about that day, going around shutting those mills down.
You mean when we was up our Parkdale and around? Was, like I said, Albert was up there. I think he's on the back of a truck when he was making that talk. And he got everybody all stirred up about the union, about them to join now to get a big discount, and wouldn't be long till we'd have shorter hours, more money a hour, and all that good stuff. And so when he got through talking, well, everybody gathered around. What little few of them did that had a little bit of money, and those of us that didn't, we just forgot about it. So we know we couldn't pay it anyway. And so he just told us that, well, said that wouldn't be long without shorter hours and more pay and have better working conditions, that we could negotiate, get what we wanted. So they let Mr. Dillon let Albert Henson go. He fired him. He had to move off the village. I don't remember where he moved to, but he moved around at one of these mills, wanted to work. And like he said, it wasn't too very long until we started getting shorter hours, 8 hours a day.
Now we have papers from Washington
Yeah.
that say that Mr. Dilling claimed he fired Albert Henson not because he was working for the union, but because he was drinking.
Yeah.
Do you remember Albert Henson as a drinker?
I don't remember if he was drinking or not because back then I didn't know what drinking was.
You just drinking water, wasn't you?
Were there many people? Were there many people there who?
I could hear him. You could wait till he's
Okay,
done.
let's do that. I have a document here from Washington. It was dated November the 25th, 1934, and it's subject the A.M. Smyre Manufacturing Company, Gastonia, and it's written to Dr. B.M. Squires of the Textile Labor Relations Board in Washington. There's a complaint that says that Mr. Marshall Dillinger, the superintendent of this mill, would not promise the board in Washington that he would put any of the workers back to work. So there are 6 men who were active in the union during the strike, and he fired them. These men are being held out of work because the superintendent said that they were guilty of violence, but there was none, and the company is trying to put these men out of the company houses. That's what
yeah,
they're
I'd
saying.
say it, I'll guarantee. I'll guarantee that.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way he was.
Then it says here, A.W. Henson, president of the local 2115 United Textile Workers of America, R.L. Reed, an active member of the union, and C.J. Hass, who was dropped from the company rolls sometime before the textile strike began on September the 4th. They have come to me and charged discrimination. And the answer here is that the superintendent says he does not discriminate against union men, though he admits some opposition to unionism. He admits his intention to evict these men from the company houses, but this is because the company requires that the head of a family occupying one of the houses must be an employee of the mill. I guess, what does that mean?
That means that one person in the family has to be employed by the mill, Smyre Mill, or they can't live in one of the mill houses.
I see. And it says, he is very anxious to keep drinking out of the company village. He is a pronounced prohibitionist and seems to be a man of extremely conservative and narrow views.
Yeah, I remember that, because see, I was going to school when he was over there.
I learned from an outsider that he is called King Dilling.
I had never heard him called that, I don't believe, but I saw it on that paper. But that's what he tried to be.
Mm-hmm. And so he's saying here that he's firing these fellows not because they were members of the union, but because they were drinking.
Well, probably the union brought it on, probably.
Do you recall him firing anybody else because they were drinking?
What?
You call Mr. Dillinger firing anybody else because they were drinking?
Would he fire anybody if there's drinking? If he
Yes,
found
he
out,
would.
they found out there's drinking.
And then some of them, especially if there's baseball players, he'd give them another chance.
You had to bow down to him,
And keep
in other
'em-
words.
Keep the boys playing ball. And you'd make them go to church down there so many days, nights or whatever, to pay restitution for the acting up like they did. And I call that bowing down to him myself. what I call it.
Were you a baseball player?
Nothing except junior. I never did grow up big enough to play on the big team. I would love to have, because I really love to play ball.
Tell us about your team. The team that the Smyers Manufacturing Company had its own team, did it?
Yeah, they had their own team, and they had what they call a textile league. They played Parkdale and Rex Mill Village over here. They had a team. Mount Holly and Belmont. There's several of them in this textile league that play one another.
And what would happen if one of the baseball players got caught drinking?
It's like I said, that Mr. Dillon let them go, and then he'd hire them back on a basis that they go to church, and in order to keep a good baseball player, you let them.
Wonder somebody hadn't killed him. Ain't it? Wonder they hadn't got hold of him.
Others that didn't play baseball, he caught them drinking or anything, he'd fire them. That was it.
How do you feel about that?
I don't think there's any his business what people done, as long as they run their job. I really think that people ought to do like they want to do, as long as they ain't hurting somebody else. That's the way I look at it.
Do you think that a union could have helped to do that?
Do what?
Do you think the union could have helped to deal with Mr. Dillinger?
Yeah, I think they done the company a favor. Organizing what could pay, and that's about the whole thing in a
Yeah.
nutshell.
Just pick it up at.
Okay. No. Could you tell us about the women in the mills? We see them in the parade, but we never see them in union meetings or anything like that.
Yeah, we had a few come to the meeting. We sure did.
Women coming to the meetings.
Up here at the Ranlow, had a little old store building behind this brick building up here at the stoplight. There's a little old store building. We met back there about once a week and practiced the band. And sometimes we put out a pretty good crowd just to hear us practice and come to the union meeting too. We enjoyed them coming.
Would they allow the women to come? Would they allow the women to come?
Yeah,
Okay.
there's a good many of them come.
Did they ever get up and speak?
No, you don't get up and speak, but they had sure Albert on, as long as he was speaking. Get them holler, hooray, once in a while of them.
Did you ever get on the picket line up here?
No, I never did get on the picket line.
Smyers closed down, didn't it, during the strike? Smyers, your mill closed down during the strike.
Oh, yeah,
For how long?
just a few days. A few days.
One of the things that we're trying to figure out is that just before the strike, we have a lot of stuff in the Charlotte Observer from the manufacturers, from the mill owners, saying that our workers will never strike. And then when Labor Day came, everybody came out, and for the next 3 weeks, there were only a couple of mills in all of Gaston County that were open, and that surprised them greatly. Why do you think that the manufacturers were so misled?
Now that short hours and more pay.
Mm-hmm.
That's what misled them more than anything.
Mm-hmm.
They're just fooled into doing what the company wanted them to do.
Mm-hmm.
More or less, that's the whole thing in a nutshell.
Do you remember any later attempts to organize?
Do I what?
Do you remember any later attempts to organize?
There wasn't any more attempts except, like I said, we'll give you, won't be long, we'll give you shorter hours and more pay. And it wasn't too long, just a few days or so, till they said we was going to get short hours and more pay, and that the union wouldn't charge no more than they had to let you join if you wanted to. They made it a free will offer to do whatever you wanted to do. Take your own choice and serve them in that way. And that's all there was to it.
Now, back to Albert Henson. Was he a church man?
Yeah, he went to church. Went to Smar, Melo Methodist Church down there.
Was he a preacher?
No, he wasn't a preacher. Just a plain old fellow like me.
We've heard so much about preachers who took part in the union.
Oh, yeah.
Did Mr. Dilling's church preach against the union?
Well, I really don't know because I didn't go down there.
I went down there, but I don't remember it. I went down there from the time I was born.
What church did you go to?
Runlow Baptist.
Did your church, was they discouraged the union, or were they for it?
Well, our preacher said that we ought to all chime in together and work for peace and security and be friends and love everybody, just like Christ loved us. I remember preaching sermons like that, which I think was good. And that's about all I know.
Did he preach against the union?
Like I said, he said that we should all work together and we wouldn't need a union. Just organize our own self together and do like the Lord wanted us to do. That's about it.
Okay. Well, this has been a great big help. And I hope we haven't tired you out too much. This has been a great big help. Let's just hold it just a moment and we'll get our 30 seconds, and I'm going to try again, if you don't mind, Jamie.
Why don't we all take a little break then?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's just get 30 seconds of
Yeah.
Would y'all like something to drink?
We're just going to be quiet for 30 seconds and get the tone of the room.
Okay. Oh, that was great. Could you? I better get this name of this man over in the village, Smyers Village.
Okay, Paul Brown, I'll get his number for
Mhm.
him. Or you want me to call him?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Dad?
Yeah.
I just wanted
Judy?
some Noddies if you
Why don't we go over there this
Sure.
little while?
Yeah.
Just a moment. Let me
That's fine.
tell her.
What about that? They're not at home. Yeah, they're not there. They're probably gone out to eat somewhere or something.
Okay. Well, we'll try in a little while then. I need to get his signature and yours, just saying we had your permission to do this.
All right.
Okay, you want to, and if you put your name and address and telephone number so forth, then we can notify you when the.
When I can get time, I'll see about that Henson.
Good. Thank you.
Boy I know. And
Yeah, good.
And see what
Okay.
he says.
Yeah,
If
yeah. It's interesting how clear your father's
Say-
memory of him is.
say his name's Albert.
Albert Henson, yeah.
Henson.
Yeah.
I'll see if it was his grandfather or
Mhm.
whatever.
How old is this Henson boy?
He's probably around 30 years old.
Yeah, then he would have been his grandfather if
Yeah.
if it's the same fellow.
If it's the same
Yeah,
fella.
yeah.
Um,
The interesting thing is that so many of these people who got fired, like Henson, had to leave town,
yeah.
so they gone somewhere else.
You want him
Yeah.
to sign it?
I
too?
know when I first started working in the mill,
Put
I
your
was
name
only
right
making
there.
like $1.85 an
name.
hour when I was 16.
Mm-hmm.
I worked over here where my dad worked at A.M. Smyre.
Yeah.
Is that the
During-
first time you'd seen a picture of him in relation to the union?
Yeah.
Did you know anything about his work in the union?
No, I didn't. I hadn't really, that was kind of kept quiet because of the, I guess of the bad parts of it. People getting hurt and stuff like that. It was kept kind of quiet and down, and then plus the fact that it didn't last long, too. I guess if it would have been a longer going thing, if people had to work, and like they say, the companies were privately owned. They were owned like by one man, most of them, or one family or something like that. So they ruled what happened. Where they opened the doors to let you work or not.
Did the union ever come to organize your mill while you were there, George Knapp?
Did the union ever come and try to organize you while you were there?
I don't ever remember. I think they've come around some in the past years, talking to people, and then some of these other plants they've like Freightliner parts plant. And of course you still have some of these trucking companies and stuff like that. You still have the option to join it or not to join it.
Oh, we better get your father back.
Okay, let me help him.
Yeah, thank you.
You definitely hit me at it.
He's wanting to use the bathroom.
Okay.
Got him?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Cord.
turning here.
We are,
sitting
aren't we?
here.
I think we're crossing this.
Now look
Mhm.
to this side over here.
Mhm.
Up a bit.
Oh yes. Okay.
Okay. Now, ask about the brown lung.
Yeah. Did you get any compensation for your physical ailment?
And
Do you think that your condition has anything to do with working in the mills?
look right down at my hand.
Do you think your condition had anything to do with your working in the mills?
Okay, and ask about that one owner.
What about Mr. Dillinger?
Okay.
Leave us a beaver. Okay, home.
So this is your granddaughter?
Yes, it's a song. Short thing. She takes music, but she plays by ear too.
Mr. Clary, I need to get your
take them back down and put them in the community house. And
So they even control when you have fun?
right. And then they finally got horseshoes and croquet and all that down there. And they had Bible school, and we always went to Rankin Lake at the end of Bible school and had a picnic. And they'd make us ride in a open bed truck and take us all, get us, we'd be packed in there like sardines. And they was all swarming around me, and I thought I was smothered, and I just screaming and crying, and that made me smother that much worse. I thought they was going to kill me. And we'd have a picnic. I'm telling you.
What do you remember about Mr. Dillinger?
All I remember is that if you didn't walk the chalk line, if you didn't do what he told you to, like if you, we couldn't even climb a tree. Mr. John Strange, so he was trying to get in goods with him. I mean, he was just, his bow down. And he'd get him to watch. And if we saw John Strange coming, we'd holler, "Here comes John Strange, don't climb the tree." And we'd just jump back down, see, because we didn't want Mr. Dillons to get into it. And one day, me and my friend was coming across through there. We always cut through there, shortcut to school, because we had to walk over here to Ramlow. We had to walk about a mile. And he come out there and says, "Don't y'all be coming through here no more." Said, "This is mill property." And boy, he really give us Jesse, so we didn't ever go back through there no more. And he is the boss. But one thing, when we get a report card, we'd go to the mill office, because see, he'd give us money. He'd give us like 10 cents. For every A, you'd get like 10 cents. So if you had a good report card, you might get 50 cents. And so we liked that. And let's see. And we had chickens and pigs. And we had pigs down in the field down in there, down in the pasture. And we got blackberry pigeon and everything down in there. And sometimes the big old bull would get angry. And you'd have to take off and running. Like, Scarlett, what you want?
I'm just trying to cut off the freezer.
Oh. Okay.
Yep.
And there's 5 of us children in our family, but we always had boarders because my daddy drove a taxi, and he hauled meal passengers, and he took us to school most of the time, but a lot of times we had to walk or walk home. And so he wasn't there that much, but he'd go to Detroit every year and trade cars.
How long did you work in the mill?
I didn't ever work in it. See, lucky me.
Why do you say that?
I don't know. I just heard it was rough.
What about your sisters or
My
brothers?
my sister worked, Nell. She worked in there for, I guess, 20 or more years. And she's retired now. So my brother worked, but when he started working in the mill, they worked for nothing till they learned. You had to work for a week or two or however long it took you to learn, and then you'd get paid then. So if my daddy was here, he could really tell you about Mr. Dillon. Well, he really knew all about him. So I don't know what I'd done, because I didn't bow down to nobody, but that's just the way it is.
When did Mr. Dillinger leave as superintendent?
Let's see. I'm not really sure whether it was like when they sold the mill houses. I believe in like 30.
Could you say that
1930,
again? I'm sorry.
when they sold the mill houses, like in 38 or 39, I believe I was 9 years old when we moved, and moved up on the 2nd Street from the 3rd, and I believe that's about when it was. And I don't remember how long he lived after that. I forgot how old he was when he passed away.
You can keep on, as we talk, you can keep on making sandwiches or whatever.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we'll just you
Yeah.
don't want to interrupt.
Yeah.
I'm just talking and not working. Good thing I don't work in the mill.
Not hearing?
I'm full. Maybe
No,
Sure,
no,
it's a big
no,
stack for that.
no.
All we had for heat was a little fireplace. And you got froze to death at night, you had to have a whole bunch of quilts on you. And the bed bugs would bite. I could have left that one out, couldn't I?
Did you move from house to house over there?
I didn't ever move but one time from 3rd Street to 2nd until I met my husband Russell. And I was 22 when we got married, and so we moved on 1st Street then, lived there 10 years, then we moved over here.
Was there any difference between living on 1st or 2nd Street? Or
Yeah, there's a little bit of difference because we was right at the mill and right at the train track. And if you was talking on the phone or anything, well, that train would come by, you know, and just shake your house and all that. And when they was building the boarding house, my brother was like, he was 5 or 6 years old. And one day they was out hunting him, and they couldn't find him. And he was up on the boarding house, up in, you know, in the rafters, playing. And I think he got a whooping, cause he is 6 years old. He is 12. I'm 12 years older than him. I mean younger, 12 years younger. But he is something else. He's the only boy, and there's 4 girls. So we give him a rough time, I guess, or he'd give us a rough time one. And so that was something else.
did you ever hear anything about your husband and the union?
No, I don't remember him really telling about it too much. If he did, I wasn't interested. I didn't care, you know. I always heard that unions was bad, and not to join them. And so I just didn't pay it no attention.
Who said it was bad and you shouldn't join it?
That's what I've heard a lot of mill workers say. I don't know why they would, you know, feel that way about it. So I don't know. But anyway, that's the way it was.
Did you ever know the Mr. Smyers or anybody who ran the?
Oh yeah, yeah. I knew Fred Smyer and his son Rick, and they used to give us a banquet every year. They give all the employees a banquet, and my husband got a watch the first time that they gave it. Well, we wasn't married then, but then after we got married, he would they'd have a banquet every year, like at the up our own 2nd. I can't even think of the name of the place. Anyway, they'd pitch a big party and have all kind of food, and it was great. And they started inviting the wives then, so I got to go. And then they'd recognize the ones that'd been there like 20 years or 30 years or and so forth. And so they would really put it on. So I enjoyed that.
Did your folks go to those meetings?
Just me and my husband. I'll see the others wasn't working there at the time.
Ask her what her brother did during the union organizing.
Was your father involved at all with the union organizing?
I don't really know. He's been dead like 14 years, and he was 84 when he died. So I just don't remember him telling it.
But he was a taxi driver.
Right. He drove a taxi for like 30 or 40 years. And we had a car ever since I could remember. Didn't many people have cars? And we always had boarders. He'd move boarders in to drive a taxi so that he could make money. And they'd move in with us. And we had a 5-room house and had about 12 people living there.
And the mill would let you have boarders in your house?
Yeah, they didn't ever say nothing about that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they really knew it or not. They didn't say anything about it.
Now, there was a streetcar, wasn't there, that ran?
Yeah, I rode that thing every day when I went to beauty school in Charlotte. I rode it every day back and forth. I'd go over there and catch it at 7 or 7:15 in the mornings, and then come back at 6 o'clock in the evening. I think it was like 35 or something cents a day to go back and forth.
What about class, Linda?
You went, where did you go to school?
You mean just regular school?
Mm-hmm.
Over here at Ranlow. They call it Warlick now. Went over here for 8 years. And then I went to Lowell 4 years, and I finished down there. Graduated from Lowell High School. And now they've changed it to, they go to junior high down here now. And then they have to go to Ashbrook or over in Dallas.
Well, you had a lot more education than most of the people in the Mill Village then, didn't you?
Yes, my mother was determined for me to go to school, and I didn't want to go. And when I got 6 years old, they said, go. And she whooped me every morning to come. I got my whooping every morning. I wasn't going to go, and I didn't know how to read. Boy, she'd get me down every night and make me read. And I'd miss every other word. So then my daddy said he couldn't learn, and he didn't ever go to school much, but he knew how to count money. And he was, you know, made like he couldn't learn how to read and write, but he finally learned to write his name. And then he didn't care if we went to school or not, to tell the truth, but my mother did, boy, she made us go. And then after I got in high school, I made it, you know, almost straight A's. I come out a little bit. So
When you were in high school, you went to school with people from all over the place, and they were not all cotton mill people, were they?
right, there were some from some was from Lowell, some from Gastonia. I don't know where and all they were from. Most of them was, you know, sort of local. We rode the bus when we went to Lowell. And
was there any feeling of difference between you people and you people who come out of the Mill Village and those people?
well, I believe there's a little bit. It seemed like there's a little uppity up. But I didn't pay them no attention.
Did they ever call you a lint head?
No. If they did it behind my back.
Did you ever hear that word used?
No.
I asked that because in some places that was a very strong word, and the difference between the mill people and the town people. Did you knew the owners, did you know, and the supervisors? Was there a difference in the village between the people where the supervisors lived, and they lived differently from you people?
Yes, they had a home right over here across from the mill. Like, I see Marshall Dillon had a great big, I can show you his house now. It's over there on North New Hope, or South New Hope down here. And his daughter used to live in it. Her name was Jane Alice. But my brother went to school with her. I'm not sure if I believe he graduated with her, and I got her picture. I got his picture. He graduated in 1936 or 7. And if he was here, he could tell you some stuff too, but he died 3 years ago. And so he knew Jane Alice well. And so...
Now, Mr. Dillinger, he didn't live in the Mill Village then, didn't he?
No. But they had a house right over here across from the mill later on. The superintendents, like Mr. Cobble and all them, lived right there, right across the road. Big white house. I remember that. We'd walk right by their house every day.
We should get a picture of Mr. Dillinger's house then, maybe.
Is it Dillinger or Dylan?
Dilling.
Dylan.
Why did everybody call him?
Spelled in the
Some
record
people
as
back
Dillinger.
then, you know,
That's
if
why
they
I
couldn't
missed
read and write, they'd just, you know, call it Dillinger or something, but it was Dilling, Dilling.
Mhm.
I don't know if y'all like pepper on your sandwiches or not, but I do.
That's fine. Well, I should explain that my son has some dietary problems, so he's not going to be eating with us. But the
What
other,
can you eat?
No, ma'am, I'm on a diet.
yeah.
I know.
But the
I'm
other two
limited
will
to
we'll be eating.
I'm on 2 meals a day, and
I know, but I can fix you something you can eat.
No, he just ate a big breakfast.
Yeah.
I ate
so-
a breakfast, and then I
He's
skipped
fine.
dinner,
Yeah.
supper.
I got some apples and so I don't have any bananas, but I got some canned
I'm all right,
fruit.
I'm all right.
No, he's all right. Yeah.
I'm just about 20 pounds overweight.
Well, I'd eat anyway. I'm about 20 over too, but I'm eating.
I find it's cheaper to lose weight than to buy new clothes these days.
I've wore the same ones for 20 years, so I don't care. I just stretch right into them.
I think we got it. Okay.
Can we just get this as a cutaway?
Sure. Okay.
Maybe you could ask about her husband's health.
I used to have a pet pig, called it Sally Money. I'd say, "Come on, Sally Money, come on!" It'd come running, and we'd feed it tomatoes. And it loved tomatoes, and it'd just smack. Oh, I can hear it now. Smack on them tomatoes. And my sister, she said, "I just can't eat a tomato now. I can hear that pig, you know." And when they killed it, she'd say, "I ain't gonna eat a bite of it."
When did you find out about your husband's emphysema? Brown run.
Wanna
He
ask that again?
retired.
I'm sorry.
He retired in 79, I believe, and he kept coughing and going on. And I said, "I'll bet you anything. I've heard of brown lung." I said, "I'll bet you anything you've got it," and he didn't believe it. And I said, "Well, I guarantee you got emphysema and brown lung." Because I said, "You worked in the mill all those years." And Paul Brown, he had already went and got his, And my husband's brother tried to get it, and they wouldn't let him have it. Because for some reason, I don't know, he just didn't get the right lawyer or something. He never did get it. So anyway, I kept telling my husband, so they had this lawyer, Michaels and Jernigan, had an ad in the paper, and said they would talk to you about it. And so I kept on and on till I finally got him to call them. And so they come right out here. And when they came, they knew that, they figured they had a good case. They can tell with what you tell them. And so they took down everything he said. And so they went on and told him they'd be working on the case. So they went ahead and got everything together and contacted him again, and they kept coming out here. And finally they sent him to Charlotte to Dr. Williams for an examination. And they kept him all day long. They examined him from head to foot all day. My son went with him. And so they sent him a letter, and they had like 10 different things on there was wrong with him. And they said he had emphysema. They call it bisonosis and all that. And told him that he needed to quit smoking, though he was smoking at the time. And all that. So anyway, the fella come back, and they set up the date when it's gonna take him, and he told him where to meet him. So he went and met him. He wasn't on oxygen then. And so they went up to Holiday Inn, I believe it was, that morning. And Dan Blair, he is one of the big wheels over here. I went to school with him. And they met together up there. And they offered him so much money, and he could have got more, or he could have said, "Well, you have to buy my medicine the rest of my life," and he could have got that. But he was tickled to get anything, so he went ahead and they settled it out of court. So he went and bought me a new car with it. So they had to give the lawyer like $4,000. So.
If Russell, should call him Russell, was he frightened to go against the mill like that?
When you worked with the lawyers to get the brown lung, was your husband afraid?
Compensation. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
compensation. You got
Yeah.
some of them.
I think he was afraid to do anything while he was still working. It's after he retired.
Mhm.
Well, he knew they couldn't do nothing about it, and so he just he had it made there.
Mhm.
They couldn't do nothing about it then. So
Did any of the people who, any of the other people who got brown lung, were they working in the mill when they got it, or was after they retired?
some of them, I think, got it while they was working, and they actually told him if he had filed sooner, he'd have got more. I said, well, I thought it'd be the other way around. So.
Now you mentioned a brown lung association.
Yeah, they these friends of mine told me they go to meetings like once a month or every so many days, and I think Paul Brown was going to it, and this other friend that used to live at Smyre, I think Marie Bustler was going. She's mentioned it to me before, and I've just heard they had it, but we never did go to it or anything.
Yeah.
So.
I'm out of tea. Last question. Got water over it.